are you? I hope you're having a great day. I hope you are achieving everything that you want to achieve, whatever that is for you. You know, whatever good things have been going on for you, good, great. Give yourself a pat on the back and be proud of yourself, because if ain't nobody clapping for you, I'm going to clap for you and clap for yourself, okay? But I just want to let y'all know before I take this nap that, you know, you have to understand there's more to narcissism than just a person's narcissism. Sometimes a person can be extremely narcissistic and have bipolar disorder, autism. They could be a psychopath, sociopath added to the narcissism. Like, they could have several layers of issues, not just the narcissism. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people get that like confused, like, oh man, this person's a narcissist. No, there's a spectrum, you know what I'm saying? And you have to, define where that person is on the spectrum. I would say the spectrum goes from empath to just malignant, the most deadly, dangerous narcissist on earth. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely say like the most dangerous ones is the ones that have, psychopathy and, they are a psychopath because they lack empathy. That's why I put them on the complete opposite side of, empathy, basically. But all three of those, like, and it's so crazy because, it is really crazy. I was over here thinking like how one of my cousins told me he's a diagnosed sociopath. And I'm like, really? So then I started studying him. It's just crazy, like the things he does, and he has no remorse about it, no care. There's no regret. I mean, he might regret it only because it didn't allow him access to certain things, places, things like that. I notice from my observation that usually when a person is suffering from more than just narcissism, but they're suffering from some type of, sociopathic behavior or psychopathic behavior, these are usually the people that end up labeled sex offenders. It doesn't mean that all the time. Some people are framed or set up or innocently accused of something with absolutely no DNA evidence or anything like that. But, I feel like, dang, all I can say is discernment. Okay. Nothing can fool discernment. You have to understand, like for me, when I know, like, say for instance, if my niece was telling me about some young guy that she's talking to or whatever, and I ask her, oh, so how do you feel about it? Oh my God, he's charming, baby. Red flag on the play, baby. What you mean he's charming? Charming how? See, a lot of people think that charming is a good thing. I see charming as a red flag because to me, psychopaths and sociopaths bypass most people's, defenses with that charming behavior. Am I lying? Narcissists charm their way into people's lives. Why? Because they smile, they make you laugh, they make you feel good. If you need help, they're just the most helpful person in the world. But something in the back of your mind is like, this ain't right. Something ain't right. I don't like them. I don't know what it is, because you're like, man, they smile. They haven't said anything, did anything, baby. If something in the back of your mind is saying this ain't right, something is off, that is when you need to stop on the play. Just stop. Do not proceed. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Don't do none of that. Stop. And you immediately, if you are still unsure whether to proceed or not, you need to focus on your discernment. Because that's all. If you feel any hesitation, think about it. If you had a choice between a hamburger or a hot dog, how long are you going to hesitate before you choose one? If you like I don't know, lollipops or, red hot candies, how long are you going to take to choose one? If you know that you could just, with the snap of a finger, pick an option, or you're probably a little indecisive, so you might be like, but you're going to choose one, right? Usually when we hesitate, that hesitation is like a signal, a nonverbal cue that something is off. Something ain't right. You need to sit and be still for a moment. I know that the world is so loud and it's always having us on the go because you're busy with kids, you're busy with your spouse or your family, work, whatever it is, chores, you know what I'm saying? Errands, whatever it is. Sometimes you need to just woosah, take deep breaths in and exhale, like just to slow your mind down. Because sometimes God is talking to you, your intuition is talking to you, trying to tell you, like, hey, something is off, something is wrong, something is not right. But because, and the thing is, you're not stupid at all. Narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, they manage to bypass your intuition because you're not tuned in, because there's so much noise going on. This is why it's important to turn off your phones, go a little bit without social media, ground yourself, because when you're grounded, you can't be placed in a place of doubt. Doubt is a demon. I don't care what anybody say. Don't doubt your decisions. For me, if I'm going to make a decision, I weigh the pros, I weigh the cons. I look at the possible consequences and outcomes, good and bad, because it's not always about the good part. What about the bad part? What about, you know what I'm saying? And that's just me as a Libra anyway. We tend to balance things out before a decision is made. We're not impulsive. Narcissistic people, psychopaths, sociopaths, they generally are impulsive compared to people who take a moment to just think things through. You have to realize that when people say and do things and they never apologize for it, you should probably consider them that their mental faculties are not there. There is a lack of empathy there, because the average person who exhibits and has empathy and compassion, they, even if you're heated in an argument, we tend to, as humans, say things we don't mean. But I'm a strong believer that even if you didn't mean to say it, you said it at that moment when you was boiling with anger. So you meant 100% what you said. Even if you just, after the aftermath, you feel guilty, you feel shame, you feel bad. That's normal. In a psychopath, sociopath, and even in a narcissist situation, they don't have no remorse. They stand 10 toes down on what they said. As a matter of fact, what they said is 100% truth. They meant it. And you know what? I will do it again. That's the attitude. So I just wanted to let y'all know that sometimes, when you understand the traits and characteristics of a psychopath, a sociopath, as well as a narcissist, and it can be a mixture of things. Now, mind y'all, I ain't no psychologist. I'm not no licensed therapist, doctor, none of that. But I personally have done a lot of studying on the topic. And not to mention licensed psychologists, like Dr. Romney and many others that I listen to, or at least in the past I listened to, because I gave myself a break. I don't want to focus on, because a lot of people be like, I don't want no more narcissists in my life. Da, da, da. I get that. I understand that sentiment. But I want you to understand what I'm saying and hear me clearly and loudly. Do not focus on what you don't want. Focus on what you want. Where your attention goes, energy flows. If I continued to watch narcissist videos and continue following narcissist, channels and this, no, it's a process. And this is how you know that you are on the other side of healing, I wouldn't even say healed, because I feel like it's a continuous process, like an onion. You're constantly peeling back layers and layers and layers, because if you are like me, where you grew up in a narcissistic household, in my case, I had a narcissistic mother, in my 30s right now, I'm still peeling back layers as they come up. They don't just appear, but something could happen that'll trigger a memory, a flashback. And I'm like, oh shit, damn. So that's like a slight layer of healing that needs to be undone. You know what I'm saying? So be patient with yourself. Be proud of your growth, of your elevation. Because let me tell you something. When they stalk you down on social media, like my mom stalks both of my YouTube channels, and it wouldn't even surprise me if she has aliases on social media as well to monitor and watch what I do. I know for a fact that like exes, to some extent, they are narcissistic. They like, if I drew like I think it's like a brainstorming thing, but if I drew like a bubble and I put all of them there, at the center of these bubbles, they all have the same characteristics. Not really good at hygiene, but when you meet somebody and you're getting to know them and you don't live with them, how are you going to know what their relationship to soap and water is when they always smell good around you? And then empaths have the belief that, well, I wash my ass every day. Everybody wash their ass every day until you meet somebody that stink, Oh, I brush my teeth every day. And that's what empaths tend to do to narcissists. We tend to put our good traits off on them, and that's not true. Just like narcissists put their bad traits off on empaths, which is not true. So at the end of the day, that goes to show that people are mirrors. People tend to reflect back to you the things that you do like and the things you don't like, which means there's always room for improvement. So if somebody does not self-reflect, they do not learn their lessons, they're not growing and evolving, that is probably somebody that don't need to be around you or in your circle. I'm just saying, because if you're elevating to make more money, to live a peaceful life, well, some people, they like being stuck in chaos. They like drama. They like the gossip. They like living in a danger zone. They love living on the edge, very impulsive. And as you see these behaviors or these actions, you see why their life is in shambles. You feel me? And then they love playing victimhood of the, woe is me, this happened and this happened, but they happen because they made bad decisions and choices. I just want to let y'all know, if y'all had a narcissistic mother like me and she's ever told you something fucked up, such as, I never wanted kids, I never wanted you, I never loved you, I hate you, I wish I could have aborted you, anything like that, because those are things that my mother has told me. And now here she is looking stuck on stupid because I don't care. I don't need your love. I don't need your validation. I don't need your approval. There was once upon a time I used to jump seeking her approval, wanting to hear her, oh, I'm proud of you, and, wanting her to praise me. And, I praise myself, give myself a pat on the back, kiss myself, kiss myself, love on myself. Because anything that you desire in this life, you give it to yourself. You respect yourself. You show yourself loyalty. Do not abandon yourself. You stand on your boundaries. Just like the Bible say, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And if somebody don't respect your no, you got to look at them sideways. Because there's a situation. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a part 2 because I don't want the video to be too long. So I'm going to see y'all in part 2.